Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Am I crazy? Ha! Crazy like a fox. Like a foxy man. A foxy man you know. Hello, hello. Welcome back. When was the last time I streamed? For some reason, it feels like a vague haze. I'm not too certain what even happened. I have a vague memory of a tier list. Not sure. Anyways, I have returned, and it's nice to see you all again. Yes, indeed it is. I finally got permission. Hello, Harry. Oh, I'm so sorry. You always seem to have school. I hope this stream stays up. As I alluded to on Twitter, I've never read this book before. So, you know, if there's a graphic sex scene, I'm gonna read it without a shadow of a doubt. I'm gonna read the whole thing. And I'll just have to take the stream down later. No cop-outs. No backpedaling. We go forward. So anyways, hello Fred, hello Vernadera, hello Grim, hello James, thank you for the stop by. Yes, this will be surprising for both of us. This won't simply be a read-along, because every now and then I may stop and offer notes to EL James. I think she needs writing notes, and I'm surprised no one's given them yet, but you know what? Happy to be the first. Yes. It's funny. It's a joke. Obviously, everyone's criticized her writing to hell and back, but I won't be the first and I won't be the last to tell her about all of the changes she needs to make to fix this thing. I figured I needed to do something special since I'm not doing the ASMR, which is still coming. It is still coming. I genuinely want a better mic because right now, my current mic, it's a condenser mic. It is, but it's like, it's a headset condenser mic, which is strange. I know it's hard to sort of imagine that. It's like those ones that they wear at TED Talks, essentially. Yeah, not like an Xbox gamer headset. I've also, in recent news, started to actually release the shorts, my shorts edited by some lovely, lovely people. You can also find my shorts over on TikTok, where I am Cassius Griffin. I don't know how TikTok works. I've already made some mistakes, but you can find me there. Hello, Toxic. Hello. So nice to see you. Here for the sexy read-along. Wait. Do I have my buttons still? Good. Yeah, let's amp my volume up a bit. Last time I did my stream, I was a little quiet and I didn't even realize. We can boo the book. I probably won't use those too much. But without further ado, shall we? Almost. I'm delaying it by holding my notes as I set up the last of everything I need. What is it? Why does it say? Wait, give me a sec. Did I set the time wrong? Am I live right now? I better be live right now. My streaming, my YouTube streaming thing is looking wild right now. There we go. Now it's correct. Without further ado. Shall we get started? "50 Shades of Grey" by E.L. James. With the forenote, "For Nile, the master of my universe." Here's my cringe list. Chapter 1. I scowl with frustration at my reflection in the mirror. Where else would your reflection be? Damn my hair, it just won't behave. And that damn Catherine Kavanagh for being ill and subjecting me to this ordeal. I should be studying for my final exams, which are next week. Yet here I am trying to brush my hair into submission. Ew. I'm sorry. Okay. I must not sleep with it wet. I must not sleep with it wet. Yeah, girl, take care of that before you sleep. It's real easy. It doesn't take long. Reciting this mantra several times, I attempt once more to bring it under control with the brush. I roll my eyes in exasperation and gaze at the pale brown-haired girl with blue eyes too big for her face, staring back at me. Oh God, kick this brown-haired girl with pale blue eyes out of your apartment right now and give up. My only option is to restrain my wayward hair into a ponytail and hope I look semi-presentable. Kate is my roommate, and she has chosen today, of all days, to succumb to the flu. Yeah, it does. This is pain, and we're going through this together. Therefore, who the fuck uses there? Okay, she cannot attend the interview she'd arranged to do. Let's get some just a note here. She's chosen of all days to succumb to the flu, therefore she cannot attend the interview she'd arranged to do. To do is unnecessary here. To do is completely unnecessary. You could just... She has chosen today of all days to succumb to the flu and can't attend the interview she arranged. Like, that's functional. Okay. The interview she'd arranged to do, comma, for some reason, with some mega industrialist tycoon I've never heard of for the school newspaper. It's like a mess. That was one sentence at one point, and she tried to chop it up, but good effort. So I have been volunteered. I have final exams to cram for and one essay to finish. And I'm supposed to be working this afternoon? But no. Today I have to drive 165 miles to downtown Seattle to meet with the enigmatic CEO of Gray Enterprises Holdings Incorporated. Great name. What does that... No, that doesn't even spell anything with the initial... Okay. He's an exceptional entrepreneur. I can tell by how excited you are for the interview. And a major benefactor of our university. And his time is extraordinarily precious. Much more precious than mine. But he has granted Kate an interview. A real coup, she tells me. Damn her extracurricular activities. Okay, we're in it, ladies and gentlemen. Friends of the channel. We're in it. Kate is huddled on the couch in the living room. Anna, I'm so sorry. It took me 9 months to get this interview. It will take another 6 to reschedule. And we'll both have graduated by then. As the editor, I can't blow this off. Please. No one talks like that. Kate begs me in her rasping, sore throat voice. It's sick. I can imagine it. You don't have to... Okay. Pro tip, if you're writing, says or said is invisible. It completely removes itself from the sightline of the reader. You use it. It's not you. It's not yours. It's your sister's. I won't judge you. You know what? A fun book is a fun book. How does she do it? Even ill, she looks gamine and gorgeous. Gamine? Gamine. We're looking this up. A street urchin. A homeless girl. Okay. She looks homeless. It's not hard to look homeless when you're sick. Don't use that word. And gorgeous. Strawberry blonde hair in place and green eyes bright, although now red-rimmed and runny. I ignored my pang of unwelcome sympathy. Of course I'll go, Kate. You should get back to bed. Would you like some NyQuil or Tylenol? NyQuil, please. Here are the questions and my digital recorder. Just press record here. Make notes. I'll transcribe it all. I know nothing about him. I try and fail to suppress my rising panic. The question will see you through. Go. It's a long drive. I don't want you to be late. This is really chopped up. There are like a lot of sentence fragments. Okay, I'm going. Get back to bed. I'm gonna really hit these periods. Okay, I'm going. Get back to bed. I made you some soup to heat up later. I stare at her fondly. Only for you, Kate, would I do this. Well, technically that's only for you, Kate, would I do this. Okay. I will. Good luck. And thanks, Anna. As usual, You're my lifesaver. You can have a lot. You can have more than 2 words without a period or a comma. It's really... Gathering my backpack, I give her a wry smile, then head out the door to the car. I cannot believe I have let Kate talk me into this, but Kate can talk anyone into anything. She'll make an exceptional journalist. She's articulate, strong, persuasive, argumentative, beautiful, and she's my dearest, dearest friend. The roads are clear as I set off from Vancouver, Washington. Okay, thanks for the detail. Towards Interstate 5. It's early, and I don't have to be in Seattle until 2 this afternoon. Fortunately, Kate has lent me her sporty Mercedes CLK. Never say the car type. It doesn't help anyone. It really does. I don't know what the fuck a Mercedes CLK looks like. Now all I know is I can't insert a car of my own fantasy in there. Why would you do that? Okay. I'm not sure Wanda, my old VW Beetle, see I know what that looks like, would make the journey in time. Yeah, it reads like it, doesn't it? Reads like Wattpad. Oh, the Merc is a fun drive, and the miles slip away as I push the pedal to the metal. Oh, okay. So here we have pedal to the metal is such an overused cliche. You really don't want to. You really don't want to. Like, I'm going to now take a brief moment to explain the issue with a cliche like that. So this is like an idiom, not an idiom. It's a cliche. It's a verbal cliche. If you say something like that, then all the reader is going to think about, especially when it's something so overdone like that, all the reader is going to think about is every other time they've heard that saying. And one of them will be the dominant thought in that reader's mind, and you'll pull them out of the story, and back to a memory of something they enjoy far more, or hate far more. Either way, the odds of it lining up with your goals as the writer are incredibly low. So don't ever write pedal to the metal unless it's a joke, and then you can get away with it. Okay, moving on. My destination is the headquarters of Mr. Gray's global enterprise. It's a huge 20-story office building, all curved glass and steel. An architect's utilitarian fantasy. You just say it's brutalist. With Gray House written discreetly in steel over the glass front door. It's 1:45 when I arrive. I'm greatly relieved that I'm not late as I walk into the enormous and frankly intimidating glass, steel, and white sandstone lobby. Behind the solid sandstone desk, oh good, more sandstone, an attractive, well-groomed, why is so much time spent on how everyone looks? Young blonde woman smiles pleasantly at me. She's wearing the sharpest charcoal suit jacket and white shirt I have ever seen. She looks immaculate. I'm here to see Mr. Gray? Anastasia Steele for Catherine Kavanaugh. Excuse me one moment, Miss Steele. What is this fan fiction of again? Isn't this Harry Potter? Right? This is like Ginny and Draco. Is that what this is? I remember it's something. It's definitely something. Either way. No, it's something else. What is this? No, this is Twilight. Never mind. I remembered. This is Twilight fanfiction. Excuse me one moment, Miss Steele. She arches her eyebrows. As I stand self-consciously before her, I'm beginning to wish I'd borrowed one of Kate's formal blazers rather than worn my navy blue jacket. I made an effort and worn my one and only skirt, my sensible brown knee-length boots, and a blue sweater. No one's outfit matters this much. Really, like, I can't tell you all. This is one of the traps I see a lot of young authors get into. No, well, not young, but inexperienced. Is, like, everyone's clothes. Like, everyone's clothes are relevant. someone's clothes are very rarely relevant. Here's the thing I think that, like, it really gets a lot of authors, like, stuck when they're practicing, is you're not trying to recreate the image you see in your mind. You're trying to trick someone into creating an image of their own. So specifically describing someone's outfit down to the detail doesn't usually help that. Unless it's incredibly important to character, and there's very few times that will happen, you don't want to spend a long time on outfits. You really don't. A sharp suit or schlubby rags, essentially, will suffice far more than the detail. That is, unless, once again, there's sometimes you're doing it to get a specific mood. Like, for example, if I was to write a scene of someone who's homeless, who I want the audience to pity, I would spend a lot of time on his clothes, a lot of time describing the state and the condition, and I'd add a little story behind each one. Like, you'd want to make it a narrative unto itself, rather than simply trying to recreate how you see the scene going. Yeah. So that's my tip. For me, this is smart. I tuck one of the escaped tendrils of my hair behind my ear as I pretend she doesn't intimidate me. What, another break. So, like, this is a really obvious one, and it's gonna come up a lot in this, but you show don't tell. So, like, we have this first person perspective here, right? This is told from the first person, not like a limited omniscient. This is first person, meaning we can describe what her being intimidated looks like. Maybe it's just the fact that she tucks her knees close together. Maybe it's the fact she takes an extra foot. She lets an extra foot stand between her and the woman at the desk. Maybe it's the fact she refuses to make eye contact but then forces herself to. There's a lot of different ways to show intimidation without specifically just saying that I'm intimidated. And all of those will be more compelling to almost any reader. Anyways, let's move forward again. Miss Kavanaugh is expected. Please sign in here, Miss Steele. You'll want the last elevator on the right. Press for the 20th floor. She smiles kindly, amused no doubt, as I sign in. Oh, I'm tempted to just go in another rant. Also, no, do you guys like this sort of format where I stop and explain why it's bad? Or would you prefer that I just keep reading? Please say in the chat. Until you've come to a conclusion, I'll just keep reading. She hands me a security pass that has visitor very firmly stamped on the front. I can't help my smirk. It's obvious that I'm just visiting. I don't fit in here at all. Nothing changes, I inwardly sigh. Thanking her, I walk to the bank of elevators and past the two security men, who are both far more smartly dressed than I am, in their well-cut black suits. Didn't need that. The elevator whisks me away at terminal velocity to the 20th floor. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys like that. Then I will continue here. You see, we know that she's already going to the 20th floor. Like, right? Right? In the previous paragraph, it started by saying, press for the 20th floor. We don't, unless you're doing something that goes against the expected. We don't need to hear that again. It's just a waste of words, which will upset your audience. It will. They'll get tired. I'm already tired. It's been 20 minutes and I am 3 pages in. Another important thing that I feel is, like, you can call it like taste, but it's a pretty big one for me. is like smiles kindly. So kindly is it's an adverb, right? And adverbs and adjectives are killers of good writing. They'll kill it where it stands. It doesn't add a whole lot. Have that kindness be expressed through verbiage, through the way the character talks, through their physicality. It once again comes down to show, don't tell. Adjectives and adverbs add, ironically, very little, and they make your writing come across as amateurish and childish. It's just, depending on the era you write in, like, it's a very much like a taste of the times thing, is what I will say. Because there's nothing fundamentally wrong with adjectives and adverbs, but it very much comes down to what people seem to enjoy now and seem to respect now. And currently, adjectives and adverbs just aren't, they're a faux pas. So like kindly, or die well, smiles vivaciously, it can really hurt your writing. Especially smiles kindly. Like, only use them if you need to. Like, if you really, smiles cruelly, but even then, like, if someone's smiling cruelly, isn't it so much better if you describe their physicality, what they're doing with their body, how they wring their hands, or their back has that crook in it, or the cruel, biting words they spit at you. Like, there's so much more there that you could do than say smiles kindly or smiles cruelly in the example that I was giving. Anyways, the elevator whisks me at a terminal velocity to the 20th floor. The doors slide open and I'm in another large lobby. Again, all steel, glass, and white sandstone. I'm confronted by another desk of sandstone. Okay. It's 4 sandstones on one page. Let's go. I'm confronted... And another young blonde woman, this time dressed impeccably in black and white, who rises to greet me. Miss Steele, could you wait here, please? She points to a seated area of white leather chairs. Behind the leather chairs is a spacious glass-walled meeting room with an equally spacious dark wood table and at least 20 matching chairs around that. Beyond that, there is a floor-to-ceiling window with a view of the Seattle skyline that looks through the city towards the Sound. It's a stunning vista, and I'm momentarily paralyzed by the view. Wow. Don't do that. Don't insert wow. Don't do that. Never do that. Ever do that. Never, ever, 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 ever put in an italicized wow as a completely floating end of a paragraph. Let me think that's impressive. Don't tell me that's impressive. Yes, I'll see you soon, Fred. Well, hope to see you back. I sit down, fish the questions from my backpack, and go through them, inwardly cursing at Kate for not providing me a brief biography. I know nothing about this man. You seem to know a lot. Just a page or two ago. I'm about to interview. He could be 90 or he could be 30. The uncertainty is galling and my nerves resurface, making me fidget. I've never been comfortable with one-on-one interviews, preferring the anonymity of a group discussion where I can sit inconspicuously at the back of the room. To be honest, I prefer my own company, reading a classic British novel, curled up in a chair at the campus library, not sitting twitching nervously in a colossal glass and stone edifice. Okay. Isn't she so relatable, guys? I feel like she gets me. I roll my eyes at myself. Get a grip, Steele. Judging from the building, which is too clinical and modern. I guess Gray in his 40s, fit tanned and fair-haired, to match the rest of the personnel. Another elegant, flawlessly dressed blonde comes out of a large door to the right. What is it with all the immaculate blondes? It's like Stepford here. Taking a deep breath, I stand up. Miss Steele, the latest blonde asks. Yes, I croak and clear my throat. Yes, that sounded more confident. Mr. Gray will see you in a moment. May I take your jacket? Oh, please, I struggle out of the jacket. Have you been offered any refreshment? Oh, no. No. Oh dear, is blonde number 1 in trouble? She probably has a name. Blonde number 2 frowns and eyes the young woman at the desk. Would you like tea, coffee, water? She asks, turning her attention back to me. A glass of water, thank you. Olivia, please fetch Miss Steele a glass of water. Her voice is stern. Olivia scoots up and scurries to a door on the other side of the foyer. My apologies, Miss Steele. Olivia is our new intern. Please be seated. Mr. Gray will be another 5 minutes. Olivia returns with a glass of iced water. Here you go, Miss Steele. Thank you. Blonde number 2 marches over to the large desk, the clicking of her heels echoing on the sandstone floor. She sits down and they both continue their work. Perhaps Mr. Gray insists on all his employees being blonde. I'm wondering idly if that's legal. When the office door opens and a tall, elegantly dressed, attractive African-American man with short dreadlocks exits. I have definitely worn the wrong clothes. He turns and says through the door, Golf this week, Gray? I don't hear the reply. He turns, sees me, and smiles, his dark eyes crinkling at the corner. Olivia has jumped up and called the elevator. She seems to excel at jumping from her seat. She's more nervous than me. Good afternoon, ladies, he says as he departs through the sliding door. Mr. Gray will see you now, Miss Steele. Do go through, blonde number 2 says. I stand rather shakily trying to suppress my nerves. Gathering up my belongings, I abandon my glass of water and make my way to the partially open door. You don't need to knock, just go in. She smiles kindly. There it is again. People can smile other ways. I push open the door and stumble through, tripping over my own feet and falling headfirst into the office. This is like anime. Is she gonna fall right into his big man chest? Double crap, me and my 2 left feet. I'm on my hands and knees in the doorway to Mr. Gray's office, and gentle hands are around me, helping me to stand. I'm so embarrassed. Damn my clumsiness. I steel myself to glance up. Yeah, 'cause her name's Steele. Get it? Get it? Holy cow. Okay, no one under 50 has ever said holy cow. No one under 50 has ever said that. Miss Kavanaugh extends a long fingered hand toward me once I'm upright. He extends a long fingered hand. A long fingered hand, everyone. What the fuck? Who would... Why is that a word? A long fingered hand toward me once I'm upright. I'm Christian Grey. Are you all right? Would you like to sit? So young and attractive. Very attractive. He's tall and dressed in a fine gray suit, white shirt, a black tie with unruly dark copper-colored hair and intense bright gray eyes that regard me shrewdly. Okay, it takes a moment for me to find my voice. Actually, I mutter, if this guy is over 30, then I'm Joan of Arc. Don't ever write that. In a daze, I place my hand in his and we shake. As our fingers touch, I feel an odd, exhilarating shiver run through me. I withdraw my hand hastily, embarrassed. Must be static. I blink rapidly, my eyelids matching my heart rate. Dunk dunk, dunk dunk, dunk dunk. Miss Kavanagh is indisposed, so she sent me. I hope you don't mind, Mr. Gray. And you are? His voice is warm, possibly amused, but it's difficult to tell from his impassive expression. He looks mildly interested, but above all, polite. Anastasia Steele. I'm studying English literature with Miss Kavanagh at WSU Vancouver. I see, he says simply, and I think I see the ghost of a smile in his expression, but I'm not sure. Would you like to sit? He waves me towards an L-shaped white leather couch. His office is way too big for just one man. In front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, there is a modern dark wood desk that 6 people could comfortably eat around. It matches the coffee table by the couch. Everything else is white, ceiling, floors, and walls, except for the wall by the door, where a mosaic of small paintings hang, 36 of them, arranged in a square. They are exquisite, a series of mundane, forgotten objects painted in such precise detail, they look like photographs. Displayed together, they are breathtaking. A local artist. Trouton, says Gray, when he catches my gaze. They're lovely, raising the ordinary to the extraordinary. Do you get the metaphor? Everyone, do you get it? Do you get it? Do you fucking get it? You better fucking get it. He cocks his head to one side and regards me intently. Regards me with intent. I don't know. That doesn't read right. I couldn't agree more, Miss Steele. He replies, his voice soft, and for some inexplicable reason, I find myself blushing. Apart from the paintings, the rest of the office is cold, clean, and clinical. I wonder if it reflects the personality of the Adonis. Don't ever say Adonis. Who sinks gracefully into one of the white leather chairs opposite me. I shake my head, disturbed at the direction of my thoughts, and retrieve Kate's questions from my backpack. Next, I set up the digital recorder and am all fingers and thumbs. Apparently, he's mostly fingers too. Dropping it twice on the coffee table in front of me. Mr. Gray says nothing, waiting patiently. I hope as I become increasingly flustered. Oh, waiting patiently, I hope? Okay. Okay, don't... I don't like that. I just don't... It feels wrong. I can't tell you why, but that's... Hopefully waiting patiently just would read cleaner. It says nothing. Hopefully waiting patiently as I become increasingly flustered. It would add this kind of comparison stage that would work a little better to juxtapose the two characters. I honestly, don't even need to hope he's waiting patiently. You just say he is, and it works. And then they're juxtaposed more. Right now, I'm doubting it. When I pluck the courage to look up at him, he's watching me, one hand relaxed on his lap, the other cupping his chin and trailing his long index finger across his lip. I think he's trying to suppress a smile. Sorry, I stutter. I'm not used to this. Take all the time you need, Miss Steele. Do you mind if I record your answers? After you've taken so much troubles to set up the recorder, you ask me now. Crap, he's teasing me. I hope. You sure do hope a lot, girl. I blink, unsure what to say. I think he takes pity on me because he relents. No, I don't mind. Did Miss Kavanagh explain what the interview is for? Yes, to appear in the graduation issue of the student newspaper. I should be giving the commencement address at this year's graduation ceremony. Oh, this is news to me, and I'm temporarily preoccupied by the thought that someone, not much older than me, okay, maybe 6 years older or so, and okay, mega successful, but still has been given the honor to address our class. I frown, dragging my wayward attention back to the task at hand. Good, I swallow nervously. I have some questions, Mr. Gray. I smooth a stray lock of hair behind my ear. I thought you might. he says deadpan. He's laughing at me. My cheeks heat at the realization. I sit up and square my shoulders in an attempt to look taller and more intimidating. Pressing the start button on the recorder, I try to look professional. You're very young to have amassed such an empire. To what do you owe your success? His smile is rueful, but he looks vaguely disappointed. Business is all about people, Miss Steele, and I'm very good at judging people. I know how they tick, and what makes them flourish and what doesn't. What inspires them, and how to incentivize them. I employ an exceptional team and reward them well. He pauses and fixes me with his gray stare. Hey, that's his name. My belief is to achieve success in any scheme. One has to make oneself a master of that scheme. Know it inside and out. Know every detail. I work hard, very hard to do that. I make decisions based on logic and facts. I have a natural gut instinct that can spot and nurture a good solid idea and good solid people. The bottom line is it's always down to people. Maybe you're just lucky. This isn't on Kate's list, but he's so arrogant. His eyes flare momentarily in surprise. I don't subscribe to luck or chance, Miss Steele. The harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. It really is all about having the right people on your team and directing their energies accordingly. I think it was Harvey Firestone who said, "The growth and development of people is the highest calling of leadership." You sound like a control freak. The words are out of my mouth before I can stop them. Oh, I exercise control in all things, Miss Steele, he says without a trace of humor in his smile. I look at him, and he holds my gaze steadily, impassive. My heartbeat quickens, and my face flushes again. Why does he have such an unnerving effect on me? His overwhelming good looks, maybe? The way his eyes blaze. Eyes don't blaze. Stop saying that. Stop writing that. Never write eyes blazing again. If you have the word blaze almost anywhere in a piece of writing, you can likely take it out. There's a 90% chance, if it's not being used directly in reference to fire, and half the time that it is being used directly in reference to fire, you can just remove it. The way he strokes his index finger against his lower lip, I wish he'd stop doing that. Besides, immense power is acquired by assuring yourself in your secret reveries that you were born to control things. He continues, his voice soft. Do you feel that you have that immense power? Control freak. It's in the italicized. That's her thoughts. I employ over 40,000 people. That gives me a certain sense of responsibility. Power, if you will. If I were to decide I was no longer interested in the telecommunications business and sell, 20,000 people would struggle to make their mortgage payments after a month or so. Ew. It's like the least attractive thing anyone could ever say to me. My mouth drops open. I'm staggered by his lack of humility. Don't you have a board to answer to? I ask, disgusted. I own my company. I don't have to answer to a board. He raises an eyebrow. Of course I would know this if I had done some research, but holy crap. He's arrogant. I change tack. And do you have any interests outside of your work? I have varied interests, Miss Steele. A ghost of a smile touches his lips. Very varied. Okay, so I don't think I need to explain what's wrong with the phrase very varied. There's a lot wrong with it. And for some reason, I'm confounded and heated by his steady gaze. His eyes are alight with some wicked thought. But if you work so hard, what can you do to chill out? Chill out, he smiles, revealing perfect white teeth. I stop breathing. He really is beautiful. No one should be this good looking. Well, to chill out, as you put it. I sail, I fly, I indulge in various physical pursuits. He shifts in his chair. I am a very wealthy man, Miss Steele, and I have expensive and absorbing hobbies. If he has long fingers, he'd be good at playing the piano. I glance quickly at Kate's questions, wanting to get off the subject. You invest in manufacturing. Why specifically? I ask. Why does he make me so uncomfortable? I like to build things. I like to know how things work. What makes things tick. How to construct and deconstruct. I have a love of ships. What can I say? It sounds like your heart talking, rather than logic and facts. His mouth quirks up, and he stares as if appraising me. Possibly, though there are people who'd say I don't have a heart. Why would they say that? Because they know me well. His lip curls up in a wry smile. Would your friends say you're easy to get to know? And I regret the question as soon as I say it. It's not on Kate's list. I'm a very private person. I go a long way to protect my privacy. I don't often give interviews. Why did you agree to do this one? Because I'm a benefactor of the university. And for all intents and purposes, I couldn't get Miss Kavanaugh off my back. She badgered and badgered my PR people, and I admire that kind of tenacity. See, the issue with a scene like this is there's... So, when you have two characters like this talking, they each have a goal, a want, and our main character's want isn't really clear. There needs to be a relationship. This needs to be an argument of some sort. It should be a debate. It should be a fight. And everything she does to fight, it comes across with zero agency. And his goals, I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be like a BDSM thing, but you need an interesting power dynamic. They need to switch tactics to gain control over one another. But all he's doing to knock her off stray is be handsome. So what he's saying is almost incredibly irrelevant to the power dynamic at play, even though the power dynamic at play is all the scene is the whole purpose of the scene. But all the scene is this meaningless dialogue. Moving on. I know how tenacious Kate can be. That's why I'm sitting here, squirming uncomfortably under his penetrating gaze. When I should be studying for my exams. You also invest in farming technologies. Why are you interested in that area? We can't eat money, Miss Steele. And there are too many people on the planet who don't have enough to eat. It sounds very philanthropic. Is that something you feel passionate about? Feeding the world's poor? He shrugs committally. It's shrewd business, he murmurs. And I think he's being disingenuous. It doesn't make sense. Feeding the world's poor? I can't see the financial benefit, only the virtue of the ideal. Well, this is interesting. Now there's some play here. I glance at the next question, confused by his attitude. Do you have a philosophy? If so, what is it? I don't have a philosophy as such, maybe a guiding principle. Carnegie's. A man who acquires the ability to take full possession of his own mind may take possession of anything else to which he is justly entitled. I am very singularly driven. I like control of myself and those around me. So you want to possess things. You are a control freak. That one's the thought. I want to deserve to possess them. Yes, bottom line I do. You sound like the ultimate consumer. I am. He smiles, but he doesn't touch his eyes. Again, this is at odds with someone who wants to feed the world, so I can't help thinking we're talking about something else, but I'm mystified as to what it is. I swallow hard. The temperature in the room is rising, or maybe it's just me. I just want this interview to be over. Surely Kate has enough material now. Girl, you've been talking for minutes. Literal minutes. This is not a full interview. I glance at the next question. You're adopted. How much do you think that's shaped the way you are? Oh, this is personal. I stare at him, hoping he's not offended. His brow furrows. I have no way of knowing. My interest is piqued. How old were you when you were adopted? That's a matter of public record, Miss Steele. His tone is stern. Crap, yes, of course. If I'd known I was doing this interview, I would have done some research. Flustered, I move on quickly. You've had to sacrifice family life for your work. That's not a question. He's terse. Sorry, I squirm. He's made me feel like an errant child. I try again. Have you had to sacrifice family life for your work? I have a family. I have a brother, a sister, and 2 loving parents. I'm not interested in extending my family beyond that. Are you gay, Mr. Grey? 50 Shades of Gay. He inhales sharply, and I cringe mortified. Crap! Why didn't I employ some kind of filter before I read that straight out? How can I tell him I'm just reading the question? Damn Kate and her curiosity! No, Anastasia, I'm not. He raises his eyebrows, a cool gleam in his eyes. He does not look pleased. I apologize. It's written here. My heartbeat has accelerated, and my cheeks are heating up again. It's the first time he said my name. Nervously, I tuck my loosened hair behind my ear. He cocks his head to one side. Those aren't your own questions? The blood drains from my head. No, Kate, Miss Kavanagh. She compiled them. Oh. Did I lose my space? There we go. She compiled the questions. Are you colleagues on the student paper? Oh no, I have nothing to do with the student paper. It's her extracurricular activity, not mine. My face is aflame. No, she's my roommate. She's my roommate. He rubs his chin quite deliberately, his gray eyes appraising me. Did you volunteer to do this interview? His voice is deadly quiet. Hang on, who's supposed to be interviewing whom? His eyes burn into me, and I'm compelled to answer with the truth. I was drafted. She's not well. My voice is weak and apologetic. That explains a great deal. There's a knock at the door, and blonde number 2 enters. Mr. Grey, forgive me for interrupting, but your next meeting is in 2 minutes. We're not finished here, Andrea. Please cancel my next meeting. Andrea hesitates and looks a little dumbfounded. He turns his head slowly to face her and raises his eyebrows. She flushes bright pink. Oh good, it's not just me. Very well, Mr. Grey, she mutters and then exits. He frowns and turns his attention back to me. Where were we, Miss Steele? Oh, we're back to Miss Steele now. Please don't let me keep you from anything. I want to know about you. I think that's only fair. His eyes are alight with curiosity. Double crap. Where's he going with this? He places his elbows on the arms of the chair. Sure, that's a sentence you can write. And steeples his fingers in front of his mouth. Steeples? He makes a little triangle? Okay. Yeah, I guess you could say steeples. Sure, it's the wrong word to use, I'm not going to lie, but go off, Queen? His mouth is very distracting. I swallow. There's not much to know. What are your plans after you graduate? I shrug, thrown by his interest. Move to Seattle with Kate, find a job. I haven't really thought beyond my finals. I haven't made any plans, Mr. Grey. I just need to get through final exams. I should be studying for right now, rather than sitting in your palatial, swanky, sterile office, feeling uncomfortable under your penetrating gaze. Stop saying penetrating gaze. We run an excellent internship program here, he says quietly. I raise my eyebrows in surprise. Is he offering me a job? Oh, I'll bear that in mind. I'm confounded. I'm not sure I'd fit in here. Oh no, I'm musing out loud again. Why do you say that? Tilts his head to one side, intrigued, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. It's obvious, isn't it? I'm uncoordinated, scruffy, and I'm not blonde. Not to me. His gaze intense, all humor gone, and strange muscles deep in my belly clench suddenly. Ugh. I tear my eyes away from his scrutiny and stare blindly down at my knotted fingers. What's going on? I have to go. Now I lean forward and retrieve the recorder. Would you like me to show you around? He asks. I'm sure you're far too busy. Mr. Grey and I have a long drive. You're driving back to Vancouver? He sounds surprised, anxious even. He glanced out the window. It's begun to rain. Well, you better drive carefully. His tone is stern, authoritative. Why should he care? Did you get everything you need? He adds, Yes, sir. I reply, putting the recorder into my backpack. His eyes narrow, speculatively. You see that? You see that speculatively? Don't do that. Thank you for the interview, Mr. Gray. The pleasure's all mine, he says, polite as ever. As I rise, he stands and holds out his hand. Until we meet again, Miss Steele. That sounds like a challenge or a threat. I'm not sure which. I frown. When will we ever meet again? I shake his hand once more, astounded at the odd current between us is still there. It must be my nerves. Mr. Gray, I nod. Moving with athletic grace towards the door, he opens it wide. Just ensuring you make it through the door. He gives me a small smile. Obviously, he's referring to my earlier, less than elegant entry into the office. We knew that. As readers, I think we remembered that fact. I think we remembered that fact. That's very considerate, Mr. Gray. I snap and his smile widens. I'm glad you find me entertaining. I glower inwardly, walking into the foyer. I'm surprised when he follows me out. Andrea and Olivia both look up, equally surprised. Did you have a coat? Gray asks. A jacket. Olivia leaps up and retrieves my jacket, which Gray takes from her before she can hand it to me. He holds it up, and feeling ridiculously self-conscious, I shrug it on. Gray places his hands for a moment on my shoulder. I gasp at the contact. If he notices my reaction, he gives nothing away. His long index finger presses the button, summoning the elevator, and we stand waiting. Awkwardly on my part, coolly self-possessed on his. Coolly is not a word that you should ever have in a piece like this. Just don't write the word coolly. If it's in anything you've ever written, take it out now and look up a thesaurus. The doors open, and I hurry in, desperate to escape. I really need to get out of here. When I turn to look at him, he's gazing at me and leaning against the doorway beside the elevator with one hand on the wall. He really is very good looking. It's unnerving. Anastasia, he says as a farewell. Christian, I reply, and mercifully, the doors close. That's the end of chapter 1. I do not have enough fingers to count every time that she complimented his looks, or every time that she described someone's clothing. Let's think what we've learned. What we've learned about each character is entirely superficial. There isn't a lot of depth here. We know our main character is problematically horny. Just deeply, deeply horny. And you know, that's what we've learned. We've learned she's in college. She's nervous, maybe, a lot. Or maybe that's just here. Maybe that's just here 20 plus times. Thank you, Highwell. What we've learned about Christian Grey. Slightly more than we know about our current main character, which is interesting. But a lot of what we know is still superficial. There's some foreshadowing in obvious, that's very fucking obvious. With his very, very, very varied interests. Never. But fundamentally, the core problem here is that the bulk of this chapter, very little happened. She entered into his office. He was in a position of power. And he kept it for most of the conversation. The only part that's slightly interesting in that entire section was the moment when she asked him about his family, and that changed things. That changed the power dynamic. He instantly gains it back. She does nothing with the brief moment of power that she has, which is disappointing because you can do a lot with that. She could have kept him on the rope. She could have played a little, used the opportunity to try to get to know him a little more intimately to show that she's interested. Because it's very clear, like, his thing is keeping people at an arm's length. Well, a leash's length, if you will. So that could have made things a lot more interesting, I think, in that chapter. And also, like, maybe a little bit more of a back and forth between the two characters, because here's the heart of everything that I really feel like I want to get to the core of today in terms of writing, is all of the rules I've given thus far can be thrown out the window. Legitimately, toss them out. As long as at the core of it, you have a interesting character piece. And these characters, the way they interact is dynamic and it's fundamentally interesting. Sorry to use that word again. If there's some depth to the characters, if they have wants and needs, those two things must be separate, and each character's wants conflict with one another, then we have something interesting. Yes, then we have something much more interesting. You could make this much more interesting by just having one character it'd also be sexier. If you had one character be blatant in how much they want to fuck. That does incur other issues that you'd have to navigate your way around, regarding, harassment and the such. But those are navigatable, fundamentally. Especially, and the other character trying to stay on topic to the interview. Instead of this weird thing where she's like, hey, what's your business like? He's like, this is what it's like, but with some light innuendo. It does nothing. She that's what she wants, and she's getting it. And what he wants is to knock her off kilter, and that's what he's getting. There's just not a lot of dynamic character writing there, and there could be. And I know that sounds insane, but you could fix that scene very easily. Because like I said, all of my rules can pretty much be thrown out the window as long as you have just that fundamental thing of two characters in the scene. Each wants a different thing, and they have a different want and a different need. If you can write that, and you can write that honestly, you can write. Plain and simple. Everything else, every other rule is basically meaningless to you if you can do that. Anyways, shall we move on to chapter 2? My heart is pounding. The elevator arrives on the first floor, and I scramble out as soon as the doors slide open. Stumbling once, but fortunately, not sprawling onto the immaculate sandstone floor, I race for the wide glass doors, and suddenly I'm free in the bracing, cleansing, damp air of Seattle. Raising my face, I welcome the cool, refreshing rain. I close my eyes and take a deep, purifying breath, trying to recover what's left of my equilibrium. No man has ever affected me the way Christian Grey has, and I cannot fathom why. I mean, when they're blatant, it's much easier to mess up because usually they just make the character one-dimensionally horny. Yeah. That's kind of the... Okay, so here's the thing about, like, if they're blatant, we can get onto this. I want to touch on that because you're not wrong. I think you're right, but you can do more interesting things with that, I think, just because it's not... Either way. I know why it can be done wrong, but like I said, fundamentally, you need conflict there. And there needs to be some kind of conflict. Like, maybe she keeps asking questions that are too personal, throwing him a little off kilter. And then, like, she keeps doing it, and that's what makes him fire back with personal questions about her. And then you could even have a fun little thing that's super cliche, but better than what we just watched, Red, where he goes, I'll answer a question for you when you answer a question for me. Which, yes, is cliche, but the story's cliche. And I'm trying to stay within the bounds of what it wants to be. So that is a potential solution, if you will. Anyways. No man has ever affected me the way Christian Grey has, and I cannot fathom why. Is it his looks, his civility, wealth, power? I don't understand my irrational reaction. I breathe an enormous sigh of relief. What in heaven's name was that all about? Leaning against one of the steel pillars of the building, Steel Grey, it's all over this thing, isn't it? I valiantly attempt to calm down and gather my thoughts. I shake my head. What was that? My heart steadies to its regular rhythm, and I can breathe normally again. I head for the car. As I leave the city limits behind, I begin to feel foolish and embarrassed as I replay the interview in my mind. Surely I'm overreacting to something that's imaginary. I need a drink of water. Okay, so he's very attractive, confident, commanding, at ease with himself. But on the flip side, he's arrogant, and for all his impeccable manners, he's autocratic and cold. Well, on the surface. Yeah, that's the issue, is she's just fundamentally, like, isn't that strong a character, Highwell, right? Like, she's really quite passive, which I get it. That's the fetish. There's just better ways to do it. There's much better ways to do it. Having a character be unabashedly horny, that's a good question. It just would give a little more agency to either one of them, rather than making them both feel at the whims of this interview that neither one of them wanted. And it could just, I don't know, it would spice up the opening scene, because right now it's boring. If you're gonna play into the horn, play into the horn of it. You can make horny have character. It's possible. It's harder to do, actually, because it is so id central, essentially, and the id is the. But base urges can be interesting. Base urges can be fascinating, especially in how those base urges relate with your higher forms of thought. You know? You could really have a dynamic there. If the dynamic... Yeah, you could. There's a lot you could do. Either way. Well, I could write this better. We're not going to... No, let's not get too much into that right now. An involuntary shiver runs down my spine. He may be arrogant, but then he has a right to be. He's accomplished so much at such a young age. He doesn't suffer fools gladly, but why should he? Suffer fools gladly, okay. I'm irritated. Kate didn't give me a brief biography. While cruising towards Interstate 5, my mind continues to wander. I'm truly perplexed as to what makes someone so driven to succeed. Some of his answers were so cryptic, as if he had a hidden agenda. And Kate's questions, the adoption and asking him if he was gay. I shudder. I can't believe I said that. Ground swallow me up now. Every time I think of that question in the future, I will cringe with embarrassment. Damn Catherine Kavanaugh. I check the speedometer. I'm driving more cautiously than I would on any other occasion, and I know it's the memory of those piercing gray eyes gazing at me in a stern voice telling me to drive carefully. Shaking my head, I realize that Gray's more like a man Gray's more like a man twice his age. Okay. Forget it, Anna, I scold myself, and decide that, all in all, it's been a very interesting experience, but I shouldn't dwell on it. Put it behind you. I never have to see him again. I'm immediately cheered by the thought. I switch on the stereo and turn up the volume. Sit back and listen to thumping indie rock music. Cool. Yeah, you're sick. As I press down on the accelerator, as I hit Interstate 5, I realize I can drive as fast as I want. Imagine getting domed so hard that you drive slowly home. We live in a small community of duplex apartments close to the Vancouver campus of WSU. I'm lucky Kate's parents bought the place for her, and I pay peanuts for rent. It's been home for 4 years now. As I pull up outside, I know Kate is going to want a blow-by-blow account, and she's tenacious. Well, at least she has the digital recorder. I hope I won't have to elaborate much beyond what was said during the interview. Anna, you're back. Kate sits in our living area, surrounded by books. She's clearly been studying for finals. She's still in her her pink flannel pajamas decorated with cute little rabbits, the ones she reserves for the aftermath of breakups with boyfriends, for assorted illnesses, and for general moody depression. That's fine. That's not a bad, clothing description. It's not horrible. We know which one it is, but still, give us an idea. Adds character to the clothes, tells a little bit of a story. She bounds up to me and hugs me hard. I was beginning to worry. I expected you back sooner. Oh, I thought I made good time considering the interview ran over. I raved the digital recorder at her. Anna, thank you so much for doing this. I owe you. I know. I owe you, I know. How was it? What was he like? Oh no, here we go, the Catherine Kavanagh Inquisition. I struggled to answer her question. What can I say? I'm glad it's over, and I don't have to see him again. He was rather intimidating, I shrug. He's very focused, intense even, and young, really young. Kate gazes innocently at me. I frown. Don't you look so innocent? Why didn't you give me a biography? He made me feel like an idiot for skimping on basic research. Kate clamps a hand to her mouth. Geez, Anna, I'm sorry. I didn't think. I huff. Mostly, he was courteous, formal, slightly stuffy, like he's old before his time. He doesn't talk like a man of 20-something. How old is he anyway? 27. Anna, I'm sorry. I should have briefed you, but I was in such a panic. Let me have the recorder, and I'll start transcribing the interview. You look better. Did you eat your soup? I'm eager to change the subject. Yes, and it was delicious as usual. I'm feeling much better. She smiles in gratitude. I check my watch. I have to run. I can still make my shift at Clayton's. Anna, you'll be exhausted. I'll be fine. I'll see you later. I've worked at Clayton's since I started at WSU. It's the largest independent hardware store in the Portland area, and over the 4 years I've worked here, I've come to know a little bit about most everything. Although, ironically, I'm crap at any DIY. I leave all that to my dad. Is that like a... What? Why a hardware store? Is that like plot relevant later? Why a hard... Did the author work at a hardware store? That seems like something that would be like the case. That's just so weirdly specific. It becomes plot relevant later? Really? Like how? Either way. Is it because they can buy stuff for the dungeon there? Or she runs into him buying chains or some shit? Yeah, it's probably that she runs into him buying chains or some shit. Okay. I'm glad I can make my shift, as it gives me something to focus on that isn't Christian Grey. We're busy. It's the start of the summer season and folks are redecorating their homes. Mr. Clayton looks relieved to see me. Anna, I thought you weren't going to make it here today. My appointment didn't take as long as I thought. I can do a couple hours. I'm real pleased to see you. She sends me to the storeroom to start restocking shelves, and soon I'm absorbed in the task. What? That's the scene? That's the fucking scene? Are you kidding me? We wasted time on that? When I arrive home later, Catherine is wearing headphones. Nothing happens there? Are you joking? I get it. We've established she works at a hardware store. That's a whole paragraph. Okay, so here's the thing. When you're writing a scene, it needs to have more than one purpose. It can't be simply, I need to establish she works at a hardware store. There's other ways to do that. You can leave me one fucking sentence. Damn, no, damn, I'm gonna miss my shift at the hardware store. Fucking good. It sucks, but it works. It works better than this whole back and forth that has been inserted into here. Your scene has to have multiple purposes. God, it cannot be for one thing. You cannot waste a reader's time like that. God. Even if it is like, you can't have a scene just for introducing a character. There needs to be plot development. Sorry. When I arrive home later, Catherine is wearing headphones and working on her laptop. Her nose is still pink, but has her teeth into a story, so she's concentrating and typing furiously. I'm thoroughly drained, exhausted by the long drive, the grueling interview, and being swamped at Clayton's. I slump onto the couch, thinking about the essay I have to finish, and all the studying I haven't done today because I was holed up with him, which is italicized for some reason. You've got some good stuff here, Anna. Well done. I can't believe you didn't take him up on his offer to show you around. He obviously wanted to spend more time with you. She gives me a fleeting, quizzical look. I flush and my heart rate increases. That wasn't the reason, surely. He just wanted to show me around so I could see that he was the lord of all he surveyed. I realize I'm biting my lip, and I hope Kate doesn't notice, but she seems absorbed in her transcription. I hear what you mean about formal. Did you take any notes? She asks. No, I didn't. That's fine. I can still make a fine article with this. Shame we don't have some original stills. Good looking son of a bitch, isn't he? I suppose so. I try so hard to sound disinterested, and I think I succeed. Oh, come on, Anna. Even you can't be immune to his looks. She arches a perfect eyebrow at me. Crap. I feel my cheeks heating, so I distract her with flattery. Always a good ploy. You probably would have gotten a lot more out of him. I doubt that, Anna. Come on, he practically offered you a job. Given that I foisted this on you in the last minute, you did very well. She glances at me speculatively. I make a hasty retreat into the kitchen. So what did you really think of him? She calls after me. Damn, she's inquisitive. Why can't she just let this go? Think of something quick. He's very driven, controlling, arrogant, scary, but very charismatic. I can understand the fascination. I add truthfully, hoping this will shut her up once and for all. You? Fascinated by a man? She snorts. That's a first. I start gathering the makings of a sandwich so she can't see my face. Great way to hide your face, with a sandwich. Why did you want to know if he was gay? Incidentally, that was the most embarrassing question. I was mortified, and he was pissed to be asked too. I scowled at the memory. Whenever he's in the society pages, he never has a date. It was embarrassing. The whole thing was embarrassing. I'm glad I never have to lay eyes on him again. Oh, Anna, it can't be that bad. I think he sounds quite taken with you. Taken with me? Now Kate's being ridiculous. Would you like a sandwich? Yes, please. We talk no more of Christian Grey that evening, much to my relief. Once we've eaten, I'm able to sit at the dining table with Kate. And while she works on her article, I work on my essay on Tess of the Duberville. I can never say this. Dubervilles. Damn, that woman was in the wrong place at the wrong time in the wrong century. By the time I finish, it's midnight, and Kate has long since gone to bed. I make my way to my room, exhausted but pleased that I've accomplished so much for a Monday. I curl up in my white iron bed, wrap my mother's quilt around me, close my eyes, and am instantly asleep. That night, I dream of dark places, bleak, cold white floors, and gray eyes. Don't do that either. For the rest of the week, I throw myself into my studies and my job at Clayton's. Kate is busy, too, compiling her last... Why is there a comma there? Compiling her last edition of the student newspaper before she has to relinquish it to the new editor, while also cramming for her finals. By Wednesday, she's much better, and I no longer have to endure the sight of her pink flannel with too many rabbits' PJs. Weird callback, didn't need it. I call my mom in Georgia to check on her, but also so she can wish me luck on my final exams. She proceeds to tell me about her latest venture, candle making. My mother is all about new business ventures. Fundamentally, she's bored and wants something to occupy her time, but she has the attention span of a goldfish. It'll be something new next week. She worries me, but I hope she hasn't mortgaged the house to finance this latest scheme, and I hope Bob, her relatively new but much older husband, is keeping an eye on her now that I'm no longer there. He does seem a lot more grounded than husband number 3. How are things with you, Anna? For a moment I hesitate, and I know I have Mom's full attention. I'm fine, I answer quickly. Give me a second to take another drink of water. I'm fine, I answer quickly. Anna, have you met someone? Wow, how does she do that? The excitement in her voice is palpable. No, Mom, it's nothing. You'll be the first to know if I do. Anna, you really need to get out more, honey. You worry me. Mom, I'm fine. I feel like less intelligent. How am I holding up? I feel dumber. Like actually, like a little, like a bit. I feel like we are what we eat in terms of media, and I feel like this is like McDonald's. I'm mentally sick. Later that evening, I call Ray, my stepdad, my stepdad, Mom's husband number 2, the man I consider my father, and whose name I bear. It's a brief conversation. In fact, it's not so much of a conversation as a one-side series of grunts in response to my gentle coaxing. Ray is not a talker, but he's still alive, and he's watching soccer on TV, and going bowling or fly fishing or furniture making when he's not. Ray is a skilled carpenter, and the reason I know the difference between a hawk and a handsaw. All seems well with him. Why did we need the scene where she calls her father? That did nothing. That did nothing. Once again, that could have been the sentence. Probably was one sentence at one point, I'm not going to lie. There's just a lot of fluff here. This is 565 pages, and you could really trim that down. Like, you could really trim that down. Friday night, Kate and I are debating what to do with our evening. We want some time off from our studies, our work, and student newspapers when the doorbell rings. Standing on our doorstep is my good friend Jose, clutching a bottle of champagne. Jose, great to see you. I give him a quick hug. Come in. Jose is the first person I met when I arrived at WSU, looking as lost and lonely as I did. We recognized a kindred spirit in each other that day and have been friends ever since. Okay. Not only do we share a sense of humor, but we also discovered that Ray and Jose Sr. were in the same army unit together. Okay. As a result, our fathers have become good friends too. Okay. Jose is studying engineering and is the first in his family to make it to college. He's pretty damn bright, but his real passion is photography. Jose has a great eye for a good picture. I have news, he grins, his dark eyes twinkling. Don't tell me. You've managed to not get kicked out for another week, I tease. He scowls playful at me. Portland Place Gallery is going to exhibit my photos next month. That's amazing. Congratulations. Delighted for him, I hug him again. Kate beams at me. Beams at him. I'm really losing my mind here. Way to go, Jose. I should put this in the paper. Nothing like last-minute editorial changes on a Friday evening. She feigns annoyance. Why is she annoyed? She doesn't... Is that a real idea? That was her idea to put it in the paper. Why is she feigning annoyance? What's the purpose of that? What's the joke? Okay. Let's celebrate. I want you to come to the opening. Jose looks intently at me and I flush. Both of you, of course. Yeah, he adds, glancing nervously at Kate. Jose and I are good friends, but I know deep down he'd like to be more. He's cute and funny, but he's just not for me. He's more like the brother I never had. Catherine often teases me that I'm missing the need a boyfriend gene. But the truth is, I just haven't met anyone whom I'm attracted to. Even though part of me longs for the fabled trembling knees, heart and mouth, butterfly and bellies moments. It doesn't happen past the age of like 13. Well, 18. It's like puppy love. Sometimes I wonder if there's something wrong with me. Perhaps I've spent too long in the company of my literary romantic heroes. And consequently, my ideals and expectations are far too high. But in reality, nobody's ever made me feel like that. Until very recently. The unwelcome, still small voice in my subconscious whispers, "No!" I banish the thought immediately. I'm not going there. Not after that painful interview. Are you gay, Mr. Gray? I wince at the memory. I know I've dreamed about him most nights since then, but that's just to purge the awful experience from my system, surely. Girl. Drink some water, 'cause you thirsty. I watch Jose open the bottle of champagne. Yeah, have some, you need it. He's tall and in his jeans and t-shirt. He's all shoulders and muscles. He's all like he's made of shoulders. Cool. This dude's kind of sick if he's made of shoulders. Tan skin, dark hair, and burning dark eyes. Yes, Jose's pretty hot, but I think he's finally getting the message. We're just friends. The cork makes its loud pop and Jose looks up and smiles. Saturday at the store is a nightmare. We are besieged by do-it-yourselfers wanting to spruce up their homes. Mr. and Mrs. Clayton, John, Patrick, the two other part-timers, and I are besieged by customers, but there's a lull around lunchtime. Mrs. Clayton asks me to check on some orders while I'm sitting behind the counter at the register, discreetly eating my bagel. I'm engrossed in the task. Sorry, I had to cough. Checking catalog numbers against the items we need and the items we've ordered. Eyes flickering from order book to the computer screen back as I make sure the entries match. Then for some reason, I glance up and find myself locked in the bold gray gaze of Christian Grey. Stop saying Grey. Who's standing at the corner, staring at me. My brain's frying, everyone. My brain's frying. Miss Steele, what a pleasant surprise. His gaze is wavering and intense. Holy crap, what the hell is he doing here, looking all outdoorsy with his tousled hair and his cream chunky knit sweater jeans and walking boots? I think my mouth is popped open and I can't locate my brain or voice. Mr. Gray, I whisper eventually, because that's all I can manage. There's a ghost of a smile on his lips, and his eyes are alight with humor as if he's enjoying some private joke. I'd be really concerned that he's stalking me, but que sera? I was in the area, he says by way of explanation. I need to stock up on a few things. It's a pleasure to see you again. His voice is warm and husky, like dark melted chocolate fudge caramel or something. We made it to the line, everyone. Like dark melted chocolate fudge caramel or something. Like dark melted chocolate caramel fudge or something. Oh. Okay, I need to make a quick change. Damn it, this is going right in my description. This should go in my fucking bio. My voice is warm and husky like dark melted chocolate fudge caramel or something. That's me, that's my voice. Would you guys say it's like dark chocolate fudge caramel? Dark melted chocolate fudge caramel. Why is that so hard to say? It's so incorrect. It's so bad. Or would you say my voice is more like dark melted chocolate fudge caramel? Or would you say it's more like or something? Because, you know, there is an or here. There's a ... there, which really implies that's intentional. And that line is great. That's great. That's iconic. Does this count? I think that goes fully into camp, which makes it iconic. Anyways, let's get back to it, shall we? I shake my head to gather my wits. My heart is pounding at a frantic tempo, and for some reason, I'm blushing furiously under his steady scrutiny. I'm utterly thrown by the sight of him standing before me. My memories of him did not do him justice. He's not merely good looking. We're back! He's the epitome of male beauty. Or epitome. Both I think are correct. Breathtaking, and he's here in Clayton's hardware store. Go figure. Finally, my cognitive functions are restored and reconnected with the rest of my body. Anna, my name's Anna. What can I help you with, Mr. Gray? He smiles, and again, it's like he's privy to some big secret. It's so disconcerting. Taking a deep breath, I put on my professional, I've worked the shop for years facade. I can do this. There are a few items I need. To start with, I'd like some cable ties. His expression is both cool and amused. Cable ties? We stock various lengths. Shall I show you? My voice wavers. Get a grip, Steel. A slight frown mars Gray's rather lovely brow. Please, lead the way. I try for nonchalance as I come out from behind the counter, but really I'm concentrating hard on not falling over my own feet. My legs are suddenly the consistency of Jell-O. I'm so glad I decided to wear my best jeans this morning. They're with the electrical goods, aisle 8. My voice is a little too bright. I glance up at him and regret it almost immediately. Damn, he's handsome. After you. He gestures with his long-fingered, beautifully manicured hand. We could make a drinking game out of this very easily. You drink every time, a sip every time he's called handsome, and a full drink every time the fingers come up. What is with this author and fingers? With my heart pounding so hard that I think it's trying to escape my body, I head down one of the aisles to the electrical section. Why is he in Portland? Why is he here at Clayton's? And from a very tiny, underused part of my brain, probably located at the base of my medulla oblongata, near where my subconscious dwells, comes the thought, he's here to see you. No way. I dismiss it immediately. Why would this beautiful, powerful, urbane man want to see me? The idea is preposterous, and I kick it out of my head. Are you in Portland on business? I ask, and my voice is too high. Like I've got my finger trapped in a door or something. Okay. Like I've got my finger trapped in a door or something. It's fine. My voice is too high. It doesn't need to be explained that you never, ever need to write. Or something. Ever, unless it's dialogue. And even then, weak choice. If it ever says or something, I have to do a shot. Let's move on. This would be 2 shots in 2 pages. Damn, try to be cool, Anna. I was visiting WSU Environmental Science Division. It's based in Vancouver. I'm currently funding some research there in crop rotation and soil science. He says matter-of-factly. See, not here to find you at all. My subconscious sneers at me. Loud and proud and pouty, I flush at my foolish, wayward thoughts. All part of your Feed the World plan, I tease? Something like that, he acknowledges, and his lip quirks up in a half-smile. He gazes at the section of cable ties we stock at Clayton's. What on earth is he gonna do with those? I cannot picture him as a do-it-yourselfer. Okay, A, cable ties have infinite uses, not just BDSM. They're also not the best for that. Buy some actual equipment, everyone. Yeah. Yeah, they sell... Shibari exists. And it's better. Anyways. I can't picture him as a do-it-yourselfer at all. His fingers trail across the various packages displayed, and for some inexplicable reason I have to look away. He bends and selects a packet. These will do, he says with his oh-so-secret smile. Is there anything else? I'd like some masking tape. Masking tape? Are you redecorating? The words are out before I can stop them. Surely he hires laborers or his staff has staff to help him decorate. No, not redecorating, he says quickly and then smirks. I have the uncanny feeling that he's laughing at me. He uses cable ties for his koi pond. I have no reason not to fully believe you. Am I that funny? Funny looking? Yeah, sure. This way, I mutter, embarrassed. Masking tape is in the decorating aisle. I glance behind me as he follows. Have you worked here long? His voice is low, and he's gazing at me, concentrating hard. A hilarious image. Just a man walking behind someone, just... Have you worked here very long? It's hilarious. I blush brightly. Why the hell does he have this effect on me? I feel like I'm 14 years old. Gauche, as always, and out of place. Eyes front, steel. 4 years, I say as we reach our goal. To distract myself, I reach down and select 2 widths of masking tape that we stock. I'll take that one. Gray points to the wider tape, which I pass to him. My fingers brush very briefly, and the current is there again, zapping through me like I've touched an exposed wire. Okay, is he like rubbing his feet on carpet? Because that really doesn't happen. Okay. That's really like not good. What is with the air? Is it the Dust Bowl? Are we back in Dust Bowl times? That's a deep cut. It's a deep historical cut, which I will probably explain. Now, back during the Dust Bowl, static electricity built up so much in the air that people couldn't touch without actually almost knocking each other out. It's a fun little fact about the Dust Bowl. Yeah, like children would run up to their mothers to give them a hug and would be knocked flat on their asses. I can only imagine it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. Anyways, men would handshake and would knock each other out. Yeah, so that's a deep historical cut for your fun fact, people. That's your fun fact of the day from Cassius. Yeah, look it up. It's really interesting. I gasp as a charge runs all the way down to some dark, unexplored, deep in my belly. I scramble around for my equilibrium. Anything else, my voice is husky and breathy. His eyes widen slightly. Some rope, I think. His voice mirrors mine, husky. Do not use that kind of rope. It is likely, there's a, if you're buying it at the hardware store, you have the money to buy better gear, man. Right? That rope is not good for prolonged skin exposure. Anyways, this way. I duck my head down to hide my recurring blush, move towards the aisle. What sort were you after? We have synthetic and natural filament rope, twine, cable, cord. I halted his expression, his eyes darkening. Holy cow. I'll take 5 yards of the natural filament rope, please. At least it's the natural stuff. Quickly, with trembling fingers, I measure out 5 yards against the fixed ruler, aware that his hot gray gaze is on me. What a horrible sentence. I dare not look at him. Geez, could I feel any more self-conscious? Taking my Stanley knife from the back pocket of my jeans, I cut it, then coil it neatly before tying the slip knot. By some miracle, I managed not to remove a finger. Were you a Girl Scout? He asks, sculpted sensual lips curled up in amusement. Don't look at his mouth. That's almost the worst part, is those little italicized thoughts. Organized group activities aren't really my thing, Mr. Gray. He arches a brow. What is your thing, Anastasia? His voice is velvet soft, and his secret smile is back. I gaze at him, unable to express myself. I'm on shifting tectonic plates. Quite literally, yes, you are. Try to be cool, Anna. My tortured subconscious begs on bended knee. Books, I whisper, but inside my subconscious is screaming, You are my thing. I slap it down, instantly mortified that my psyche is having ideas way out of its league. What kind of books? He cocks his head to one side. Why is he so interested? Oh, you know, the usual, the classics, British literature mainly. He rubs his chin with long index finger and thumb as he contemplates my answer. Or perhaps he's just very bored and trying to hide it. Anything else you need? I have to get off this subject. Those fingers on that face are beguiling. Great. I don't know. What else would you recommend? What would I recommend? I don't even know what you're doing. For a do-it-yourselfer? Nods, his eyes alive with wicked humor. I flush and my gaze strays to his snug jeans. Coveralls, I reply. And I know I'm no longer screening what's coming out of my mouth. He raises an eyebrow, amused yet again. You wouldn't want to ruin your clothing. I gesture vaguely at the direction of his jeans. I could always take them off. He smirks. And that's my cue! I can always take it off too. I feel the color in my cheeks again. I must be the color of the Sometimes I get ahead of myself and read a sentence. We're going to have to go back because I need to read this again. I feel the color in my cheeks rising again. I must be the color of the Communist Manifesto. What? Stop talking. Stop talking now. I'll take some coveralls. Heaven forbid I should ruin any clothing, he says dryly. I try to dismiss the unwelcome image of him without jeans. Do you need anything else? I squeak as I hand him the blue coveralls. He ignores my inquiry. How's the article coming along? He's finally asked me an easy question, away from all the innuendo and confusing double talk. A question I can answer. I grasp it tightly with two hands, as if it were a life raft, and go for honesty. I'm not writing it. Catherine is. Miss Kavanaugh, my roommate. She's the writer. She's very happy with it. She's the editor of the newspaper, and she was devastated that she couldn't do the interview in person. I feel like I've come up for air. It lasts a normal topic of conversation. Her only concern is that she doesn't have any original photographs of you. Which... What sort of photographs does she want? Okay, I hadn't factored in this response. I shake my head, because I just don't know. Well, I'm around. Tomorrow, perhaps? You'd be willing to do a photo shoot? My voice is squeaky again. Kate will be in seventh heaven if I can pull this off. And you might see him again tomorrow. The dark place at the base of my brain whispers seductively to me. I dismiss the thought of all the silly ridiculous. Kate will be delighted if we can find a photographer. I'm so pleased I smile at him broadly. His lips part like he's taking a sharp intake of breath, and he blinks. For a fraction of a second, he looks lost somehow, and the earth shifts slightly on its axis, the tectonic plates sliding into a new position. Oh my Christian Grey's lost look. Let me know about tomorrow. Reaching into his back pocket, he pulls out a wallet. My card. It has my cell number. You'll need to call me before 10 in the morning. Okay, I grin up at him. Kate is going to be thrilled. Anna! Paul has materialized at the other end of the aisle. He's Mr. Clayton's youngest brother. I'd heard he was from Princeton, but I wasn't expecting to see him today. Oh, excuse me for a moment, Mr. Gray. Gray frowns as I turn away from him. Paul has always been a buddy, and in the strange moment that I'm having with the rich, powerful, awesomely, off the charts, attractive, control-freak Gray, it's great to talk to someone who's normal. Paul hugs me, hard, taking me by surprise. Anna, hi, it's so good to see you, he gushes. Hello, Paul, how are you? You home for your brother's birthday? Yep, you're looking well, Anna, really well. He grins at me, and as he examines me at arm's length, then he releases me, but keeps a possessive arm draped over my shoulder. I shuffle from foot to foot, embarrassed. It's good to see Paul, but he's always been overfamiliar. When I glance up at Christian Grey, he's watching us like a hawk, his eyes hooded and speculative, his mouth a hard, impassive line. He changed from the weirdly attractive customer to someone else, someone cold and distant. Does she have any agency in this whole fucking book? Ugh. Paul, I'm with a customer, someone you should meet, I say, trying to diffuse the antagonism I see in Gray's expression. I drag Paul over to meet him, and they size each other up. The atmosphere is suddenly arctic. For Paul, this is Christian Grey. Mr. Grey, this is Paul Clayton. His brother owns the place. And for some irrational reason, I feel like I have to explain a bit more. I've known Paul ever since I've worked here, but we don't see each other that often. He's back from Princeton, where he's studying business administration. I'm babbling. Stop now! I can't even... Okay. Mr. Clayton. Gray holds out his hand, his look unreadable. Mr. Gray? Paul returns his sad handshake. But wait up. Not the Christian Grey of Grey Enterprises Holding? Paul goes from surly to awestruck in less than a nanosecond. It's a good one. Gray gives him a polite smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Okay, if your smile ever does actually go all the way up to your eyes, that's a talent. That's got to be a Guinness Book of World Records, you know? Like your teeth go all the way up to your eyes. Impressive, if you ask me. Wow, is there anything else I can get you? Anastasia, has it covered, Mr. Clayton? She's been very attentive. His expression is impassive, but his words... It's like he's saying something else entirely. It's baffling. Cool, Paul responds. Catch you later, Anna. Sure, Paul. I watch him disappear towards the stockroom. Anything else, Mr. Gray? Just these items. His tone is clipped and cool. Damn, have I offended him? Taking a deep breath, I turn and head for the register. What is his problem? I ring up the rope, coveralls, masking tape, and cable ties. That'll be $43, please. I glance up at Gray and wish I hadn't. He's watching me closely, intently. It's unnerving. Would you like a bag? I ask as I take his credit card. Please, Anastasia. His tongue caresses my name, and my heart is once again frantic. I can hardly breathe. Hurriedly, I place his purchases in a plastic bag. You can call me if you want to do the photo shoot. He's all business once more. I nod, rendered speechless yet again, and hand back his credit card. Good. Until tomorrow, perhaps. He turns to leave, then pauses. Oh? And Anastasia. I'm glad Miss Kavanaugh couldn't do the interview. He smiles and then strides with renewed purpose out of the store. I imagine he's doing like a little bounce, you know? He's doing like a cartoon walk. Slinging the bag over his shoulder, leaving me a quivering mass of raging female hormones. Okay. I spend several minutes staring at the closed door through which he's just left before I return to planet Earth. Okay, I like him. There. I've admitted it to myself. I cannot hide my feelings anymore. I've never felt like this. I find him attractive. Very attractive. But it's a lost cause. I know. And I sigh with bittersweet regret. It was just a coincidence, his coming here. But still, I can admire him from far, surely. No harm can come of that. And if I can find a photographer, I can do some serious admiring tomorrow. I bite my lip in anticipation and find myself grinning like a schoolgirl. I need to phone Kate and organize a photo shoot. Ugh! Okay, we're done. We made it, everyone. We actually made it. We actually made it. We made it through the first 2 chapters. Genuinely, I'm impressed with everyone who stuck around. Proud of you all. Very proud of you all. Incredibly proud of you all. As I should say, good job. You did good. Yeah, that was 50 Shades of Grey, chapters 1 and 2. How many chapters does this piece have? I don't know. I've already closed the window. Will I be reading more of this? Probably not. This was a Valentine's Day gift. And luckily, I think it was say-so enough where we will be keeping it on my channel. If you guys really want more in the future, maybe we could do this again sometime. But yes, let's talk a little bit about what we've read here. Yeah, she has literally no agency. She just has nothing going on. She's not a character. She's pure thirst. She's just thirst. That's it. That's all that's really going on there. There's not really a character. There's not really anything worth developing, even. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of just... Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. There's escapist characters who have tons of fucking agency. Maybe... I don't know. Maybe this is just my problem with escapism. Is it the nature of the BDSM shit? No, you can do that, right? But whoever's writing this very clearly doesn't have a BDSM kink. They have a different kind of kink. I have no idea what it is, but it goes a little further, I would say, than BDSM. Like, power to them. It's a little freaky and it makes for bad writing, but you know. Sure. Don't know what the finger thing is about. That's weird. That's weird. I get, but still, is it that important? Like, I understand why. Don't get me wrong. Why that would be considered desirable. I do. The long fingers being a constant descriptor. The only reason you would do that is to titillate. To excite the audience. I guess one could say, like, long fingers can reach. But that's as much as I am actually allowed to say on that. But even then, is that really worth describing 4 times in the first 2 chapters? I don't think so. You describe it later in the sexy scene. You know? But it doesn't need to, like, be here. God, and, like, I know I said, like, don't ever just, like, start describing people so they can get a perfect image. But he's barely described. He has gray eyes. And brown hair. And other than that, he's just handsome. Like, that's the only descriptor we really get. Which is lazy and bad. Also, the first 2 chapters have happened, and I don't know, the plot, I guess, is progressing at a decent pace. There's a lot of unnecessary filler. That whole chapter just sort of existed to get us to here. Yeah, she described him so much, yet we know so little. That's a perfect way to put it, Highwell. There's a lot of filler. That could be half its total length. It would be more fun, too. It'd be so much more fun. Imagine a scene, if you will, where A, she actually wants to interview him. Like, it's really what she wants to do. She is a journalist. Let's start there. That's where we'll start. She's done her research, but he assumes she hasn't. So, he gives some pointed questions that's like, oh yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. And then she surprises him with her insight into his life. She shows real interest. There's actual chemistry. As he teases her into not knowing, as he teases her and she is able to tease back. There we go. Ultimately ending, not with him being in control, but truly earning control of the conversation. That's hot. Now let's add something more on. She was supposed to get photos, but she gets so flustered by his power grab at the end of the conversation that she has to suddenly leave. As she's suddenly leaving, she takes a breath and goes outside. As she's breathing, suddenly she realizes she's forgotten the recorder. He comes out and hands it to her personally. Their fingers touch. We get that moment. And she says, oh, I totally forgot. But I was supposed to get photos with you for the paper. And he goes, well, I sadly have a very important meeting. But I'd like to make time for you another day. And then he hands her his card. Why don't you call me? And we'll figure out when I can see you next. And when you can see me. And then that's chapter 1. The photo shoot is set up at the end of chapter 1. And it was a little playful. Like, he goes for these power grabs, and maybe it can affect her, as it does, because I think that's part of the appeal to these people, is like that deer in the headlights feeling. But like, make it so he earns it. Don't make it like a passive part of his existence. It's so much hotter when they work to top. And no, I will not be reading 50 Shades Weekly now. But if it is requested enough, I might return to it. So yes, that would be my advice for rewriting this. Also, don't put them in different cities. That's an unnecessary problem. From what I've read thus far. It would make him much less stalkery if he actually did accidentally run into her. Yes. 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 Or maybe he owns the store. Like it's one of his subsidiaries. If you really want a power dynamic. Kinky one. You could do that. That has its own things you'd need to deal with. But either way. No, that'd be a bad move. Yeah, I wouldn't like that. Give them a reason to visit. But yeah, just putting them in the same city would handle most of them. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too, Highwell. I'm like, nah. Once I say it out loud, it doesn't sound quite well. Yeah. I mean, there already is like an uncomfortable thing there, but it could be worse. I was just trying to think of a reason to give him to visit the store other than that would make it seem much more natural. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I don't know, just putting them in the same city I think would handle that. Mostly. But then you have the question of why haven't they ran into each other before? And you know, you could actually have a lot of fun with that. You could actually have a lot of fun with that by him having a legitimate reason to go there rather than vague fetish baiting, you know? Either way. There's a lot of ways to improve this, obviously, that are very easy. That I think most people could do. It. But yeah, that's exactly why when you're troubleshooting, you need to think about your answers like quite consistently. You need to go like, you need to think about it for a second, which this author very clearly went by instinct while writing, which is an issue. Yeah, like, I don't know. People are interesting when they, have a life. And he doesn't seem to. I don't know. It's concerning. He's a weirdo. Do you ever see him without his gray eyes? I don't know what other tips I could offer. It's so far away from functional. It's so far away from a functional piece of fiction that it's hard to really give constructive criticism, because fundamentally what it needs is a from the ground up rework. You really want to achieve more than one thing in each scene. The interview attempted that, but all his answers, like, you'd think an interview would actually allow you to explore their characters and their pasts in a bit more depth than they did there with those generic ask I'm a people person answers. It's just weak. It's just really weak. And yeah, none of what she's wanted to do has been her own choice. That's also really weak. So I refer to agency a lot in today's stream. And agency is your character's ability to essentially make a fucking choice that affects the story. Having a main character with no agency is a bad move. It's a bad move. Even if if it is escapist, it's a bad move. It's harder to relate to someone with zero agency than it is to relate to someone who is making a choice. It's harder to characterize someone who has zero agency. Because the type of choice someone makes says a lot about them. Actions will always speak louder than words. And she has not taken action. Yeah. Anyways. I hope you all enjoyed today's stream. I read it by the fire in the scary part. But I didn't have the fire, it's quiet tonight. But I have the sexy BGM going. You know, my usual. So that it would add that nice atmosphere. Also, did everyone like my thumbnail? I worked surprisingly hard on it. I'm very proud of it. It's really dumb, and I love it. Thank you, Highwell. It was nice to see you again. Always a delight to see you in my streams. Thank you, Fred, for being here. Thank you, Toxic. I hope you were mostly able to focus throughout the piece. But if not, no shame there. Glad to know that. Thank you to you as well, Grim, and I hope you enjoyed as well. And perhaps one day I will actually get all my thoughts on writing together and do a longer stream that we just talk about writing, because I think that'd be a lot of fun. I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on that. The fundamental core, if I was to offer one tip to everyone before I go, would be always remember that the core of a story is character. The core of your story is character, and your intention should never be to make someone feel something. It should be to create something which elicits feeling. You never want to... Well, you can have a specific goal, and sometimes that is what you want, and that is what you're going for. The overall general goal is to elicit emotion. Is to create a situation which theoretically, ideally, would cause everyone to react in a way original and entirely original to themselves. Going for something specific, you're gonna lose an audience. But if you make something with a lot of purpose, that has character, this is kind of nebulous in nature to describe. It's easier to show this than it is to say this piece achieves this than it is to say this piece, than it is to say this is how one achieves this. I don't know. It's complicated. But yes, that is my tip. Never try to just be like, this is what I want my reader to think about while you're writing. You want it to be something that they can really customize to themselves. Yes. Yes. And that will create a layered and meaningful narrative. And if you have good character in there, you've written something good. Sincerely, if you've written something that is individual, interpretable, and full of character, you've written something good. That's really all you need. Anyways, without further ado, it was so nice to see you all today. I hope you have a lovely Valentine's Day, and never forget, you're my Valentine. So, no matter where you are in the world on this beautiful Valentine's Day, I hope you have a great morning, an amazing afternoon, a beautiful evening, and of course, as always, a good night.